It's an interesting thought. Every time something terrible happens, it's just a matter of looking at it from a different point of view and seeing how there's a lesson in there. And that really is all that it's about. And I would say to you, men, when have you noticed that life has been happening for you and not to you?
Today's guest is Nicky Billou, known as the world's greatest podcast guest with over 600 appearances. He's a two-time New York Times best-selling author, sought-after business coach, and the founder of E-Cycle Academy. Nicky helps entrepreneurs scale to seven-figure businesses and become branded thought leaders. Can you tell us your name and what your favorite quote is?
My name's Nicky Billou, and my favorite quote is, "Destiny is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is not something to be awaited. It is something to be achieved."
Okay. Is this your quote, or is this one of the quotes you may read or heard from someone?
No, this is a quote from an American politician from over 100 years ago by the name of William Jennings Bryan. He ran
when
for
did you
president a
first
few times.
Yeah. When did you first get introduced to these quotes? Like, how long ago?
Probably 30 years ago.
Okay, 30 years. I got that. Can you still remember the details, specific details of how you got introduced to the quotes or how you heard it? Did you read it in a book, watch a movie? Or...
No, I was helping some folks I know send out a mailer of a newsletter they used to put out. They used to send out like 27,000 copies of the newsletter by mail. And this was a quote on the newsletter. And when I saw it, I read it. And I said, "Wow, this is a pretty cool quote." And they said, "Yeah, it's by this guy named William Jennings Bryan." And they said to me that if, they loved the quote, but then they found out about the guy. They didn't like him too much, but they loved the quote.
Yeah.
And I just said, it's a really good quote. So I always remembered it.
Okay. What are how has this quote influenced? Can you give us specific stories in your life, maybe 3 to 5 stories of how this quote has influenced?
People go through life oftentimes and they don't really understand what it takes to succeed. They keep repeating the same day over and over and over again. And this quote reminds me that life is all about you making a choice to create your own destiny and not waiting for it to come to you. That's all right. Can you hear me? Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, the question I was asking was, what are some specific instances in your life where you've had to like take yourself through the quotes again and again and say, okay, destiny is a thing of choice, not chance?
Honestly, man, it's right now. In my country, there was just an election, and unfortunately, the people who won are not the right people. But we move forward. Destiny is a matter of choice, not a matter of chance. Right now, we get to create the life we want to create in Canada, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This quote is it a quote you share, or is it just one of the personal quotes that you just, keep to yourself?
I don't really keep it to myself, but I haven't been sharing it a lot. I do share it from time to time.
Okay. Now this quote, would you say it's the type of quote that is subject to misinterpretation?
No, not at all.
Okay,
I think it's very clear.
Okay, so people cannot misinterpret it or say or read more like people cannot say, okay, so what you are saying is that people are not lucky. People were things that happen to people that they choose those things. Some people would read meanings of what it is not to it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Listen, people give meanings to everything that isn't intended, but this is a very clear quote. There's no ambiguity in it.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you got introduced to the quote 30 years ago when you were working on the job regarding the newsletter, and so I guess the question is, how have you managed to keep this quote top of mind day to day, such that it allows you to put things in perspective and focus?
Well, it's not that I think about it every day, because I don't, but you asked the question today, what's a quote that you like? And this is one that I like. I would be lying if I said I thought about it every day, because I don't.
Okay. I guess the question I should ask is, what's the quote that has influenced major decisions and major actions in your life, whether quotes, mantra,
that's a different
or
quote, right,
philosophy?
Paul? Yeah, that's a different quote.
Okay,
That's life is happening for me, not to me.
Okay. I
and
guess that,
that's
yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's
Okay.
happening for me, not to me.
Okay.
God is guiding me,
Okay.
and I believe that everything that happens in my life is divinely inspired, and God Almighty Himself puts it in my path because He wants me to grow. He wants me to learn.
Okay. So this quote, is this your own realization, or is this a quote you happen to come across?
Well, I've definitely come across it, but it has also been a realization of my own as well. It's the truth. Life is
Okay.
happening for me, not to me. But I've heard people say this before.
Yeah. When did you come to this realization?
Honestly, just very recently, in the last few weeks, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay. I know now that you've come to this realization, it's not just a matter of weeks. It's more like a cumulative um, efforts of the past experience you've had so far to that allowed you to put things in focus and say, okay, yeah, life has been happening for me, not to me. So, what are when
Yeah.
now that you come to this realization, what are some of the things in probably in your past that you say you could look at and say, okay, at that point in time, it looked like it was happening to me, but now I look at it, it's yeah, it's obvious now that I look at it that it's life was happening for me.
Well, there were times where a company I worked for went bankrupt. At the time, I thought that happened to me, how terrible it was. But now I realize it was happening for me because it was God giving me an opportunity to go become an entrepreneur. So it happened for me. I was married and my wife didn't want to be married anymore. And I was thinking, oh my God, why is this happening to me? But I realized that's happening for me, not to me, because God intended for me to grow as a man and to be a better man in my relationship with a woman and to be a better father as well.
Yeah,
It's very powerful to come to such understandings.
yeah, yeah. I wish you could just go on with the stories. You gave two so far. I was like hoping, okay, what's the next one? The next one, the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving examples
Yeah.
of the instances, and that itself is more like the juicy parts. And I was like, okay, tell me more, tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for everybody, it's very easy to think this is happening to you. Like right now in our election, we elected a bad guy as a country. You could say, oh my God, how terrible this is. But this is happening for me, not to me. It's making me stronger. It's making me push forward and maybe even get involved in the political arena myself. And all of this is God doing things for me, not to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I think from what I understand your quote to be is that we could take the things that are happening to us as stepping stones to the next stage of our life, or we could see them
Yeah,
as mountains that are blocking our movement and just stay stuck and say, okay, well, this stuff happened, I can't move on and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah,
100%, brother.
yeah.
100%.
Well,
Very well put.
life happens for you, not to you. Life happens for you, not to you. Life happens for you,
Yes.
not to you. Now, I'm going to like
Yes.
stretch 40 bits, right? And I know you've shared two instances of the stories where it all made sense of where life happening for you, not just to you. And I'm going to ask,
Yes.
like Oliver asked for more. I'm going to ask for more. Can you give us three more? Yeah, let's make it five.
Yeah. 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 It's an interesting thought. Every time something terrible happens, it's just a matter of looking at it from a different point of view and seeing how there's a lesson in there. And that really is all that it's about. And I would say to you, men, when have you noticed that life has been happening for you and not to you?
Hmm. Okay. I guess okay. Let me give something very recent. When I started the podcasting, my internet was really terrible, and it's still terrible now. But the first instance I had with the podcast, imagine you just starting something for the first time. You probably don't even have the skills and all that. You're not even confident enough to know what you're doing, and the internet was terrible. I couldn't have any meeting with the guests, and the first two attempts I tried, it was terrible. At first, I was like, okay, what could I possibly do? Should I not do the podcast? I was like, no, no way. I want to do this stuff. This stuff has to be done. So I was like, okay, let's switch from video to audio. That way, the bandwidth is not so high. And I was like, okay, I will use that time to focus on listening better and not just I won't since I'm not having to be on screen on video. I'll just focus my attention on listening to the guest. And I started with audio only. And I started, and eventually I did find other ways to but I realized that recording in the night, the internet is better. It's not like it's very, very good, but it's better. Like right now, I'm recording in the night. And at that point in time, I could have said, okay, life happened to me. Like, oh, the country I am, the internet is not so good. Oh, I wish I was in the US. I wish I was in Canada. My internet would be having like 350 and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, I'm not in Canada. I'm in Nigeria. What can I do? How can I walk around with this? And the funny thing is that I've had guests on my other podcast where I share my podcast story. I've had guests where I talk to them and we have conversations, and just my own story kind of inspires them. They're like, wow, like, yeah, that's incredible. And I was like, well, what if I didn't just push through and do with what I had? So yeah, so that's very recent. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
That's good. The most recent thing is what I shared with you about the election.
yeah.
Everybody around me is all upset. And me, listen, it wasn't a great night for us and for the cause of freedom, but it was a great night for the cause of building my character and ability to overcome adversity. Amen.
Yeah. Well, I feel really, really privileged that you got your favorite quotes, and the thing is that I the two quotes are connected in a way. Destiny is not a thing of chance, but it's a choice. And then life happened for you, not to you. Because when you say life happened to you, it means that you have no choice. There's nothing you can, right? And then when you say it happens for you, you can say, okay, yeah, everything is working towards the stuff that I'm going to. So yeah. So I feel like even though they are different quotes, they're actually like, working hand in hand and trying to pass this. Thank you so much for sharing.
Amen.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Finally,
Good to
before
see you.
we round up the episode, what's one final key takeaway you want to share with my listeners? Right now, this I'm not asking for. I'll ask for the call to later. I'm asking like, what's one final advice you want to share with people?
Uh, Destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. It is not something to be awaited. It's something to be achieved. Go for what you want in life and don't wait.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Where can us learn more about you and check out what?
Yeah, check out my podcast called The Thought Leader Revolution. I interview the world's top thought leaders there. People like Dr. John Maxwell, Jack Canfield, George Ross, and many others.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. The thought leader evolution. The
Revolution.
revolution revolution.com or revolution.
Yeah, thethoughtleaderrevolution.com, or just go on iTunes or Spotify.
Oh, okay. The website is the thoughtleaderrevolution.com. Okay. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I was
Thanks for
inspired,
having me.
and I trust that my listeners will. Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.